Okay, so people that I know believe that setting boundaries is one of the easiest things for a lot of people, especially since I'm a Scorpio. So people are like, "Oh, you just cut people off and it's easy for you just to cut people off cuz I'm Scorpio, Sun, Aries rising, right? Capricorn moon, Sag too in there." But yeah, so people think that like since because I'm a Scorpio, it's easy for me just to cut people off and just be like, okay, I'm gonna create a boundary and that boundary is just set and it's like, okay, great. And they're like, well, Keisha, because my main thing is when I tell people you need to set boundaries, they're like, well, you're a Scorpio, that's easy for you. They say that to me all the time. Well, Keisha, it's easy for you to just cut people off. I need you to understand something. It depends. I'm not gonna lie, because you know I'm transparent. I'm not gonna lie. But if I'm mad at you, if I've told you and told you and told you what I will not tolerate or doesn't work for me, and you continue to make that choice, it's easier for me to make a boundary with someone that's not serving me the way that I need to be served or the way that I'm serving them. It's very easy for me, and 100%, it's easy for me to cut it off because that person's not serving me. So why the hell are they here? If that person's causing more of a hindrance than anything else, why are they here? Yes, that boundary for me is pretty easy for me to set. The boundary that is not easy for me to set is the people who they are great people, but they are just not for my highest good right now. And hanging out with them or trying to pursue a, a relationship where we talk every day isn't going to feed my highest purpose. It's not going to even feed their highest purpose. It's going to keep us both stuck in a relationship that revolves around bullshit. Does that make sense to you? Like those type of people, it's difficult for me. I'm gonna be as I tell you, I'm trying to be as vulnerable and transparent as possible. Those type of relationships are very difficult for me to create boundaries with. However, for me, once I set a boundary, that boundary is enforced. So I don't really go back on it because I feel like I'm going back on protecting myself. And I never want myself to feel like I don't have her back. Does that make sense? Anyway, so it's like, cause you always, yourself, you should always believe and understand that you have your back. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to set a boundary with someone, even if they're the sweetest person in the world. I'm not going to set a boundary with them and then take it back because all I'm doing is one, telling the person that I'm not confirmed and strong in my conviction with who I am and what I want. That's one. So they're going to end up giving me whatever they want to give me, which is one, because I've done that. Two, I kind of reinforce or tell myself, yeah, bitch, I don't got your back. Like, she or he is more, being a friend with her or him is more important to me than protecting and loving and being a friend to myself. That's what that means when I don't reinforce or enforce the boundaries that I put. So if I say I'm not doing this anymore, you rarely see me go back and be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. You rarely see me do that unless like that person needs me, and it would have to be a person where they're not bad people, they're not like horrible people, because that's the people that I'm having in my life now. They're not horrible people, they're not bad. I've had horrible people in my life. I've had people in my life that I've served and I'm just like, why were you doing that? You understand? But I digress. So the people now in this season of my life, or this season of the Kaila New York show, in this season, it's like they're really good people. They're good. They're good, genuinely good-hearted people, but they all have their own limitations, right? And since they have their own limitations, it's like me being the empath and like leader and coach that I am, I see I see their effort. I get wrapped up in effort. I do. 100%. That's why it makes it hard for me to actually really set the boundary, because it's like everyone hears from your higher self or your spirit team, and they're like, you're not supposed to be hanging out with that person as much as you're hanging out with that person. And then you're sitting there going, but I want friends. Especially if you're like me, who's isolated in hermit mode most of the time. I don't even know if I'm in hermit mode or isolation hermit mode. I don't know what this is, but whatever. I digress. So it's like when you get that one friend or that those two friends, and then they're like, yeah, they're not for your highest good. So we got to move you a little bit. And then you're sitting there going, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like I just let them in. And I'm like, yep, you let them in. Now it's time for them to go. And then it's just like, what the hell? And for those that know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's like those that are like, what is she talking about? I'm not really talking to you because you have no idea what I'm talking about. But those that know, it's like, you can't keep a friend. Like, you're like, what the hell is the problem? Like, and then it's like, or they get blocked or you get blocked, that you can't connect no matter how much you try to text them. Like, I have a friend right now that I can say 10 toes down, she is my friend, even though we don't talk as much as I would like us to talk, or she would like us to talk, because spirit is always like, no, y'all two can't hang out too much. And it's just like, why can't we hang out too much? And they're like, we can't tell you. And you're sitting there like, are you freaking kidding me right now? So it's like, those are the type of people that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who spirit has in your life for a specific reason. And some people, it is for a limited time. I'm talking about those people. And those people is very hard for me to create boundaries with, because one, for me, I don't know how long I'm going to be with you. You understand? I don't know how long, not even be with you. I don't know how long I'm going to be allowed to be with you. I don't know how long you're going to be allowed to be with me. I don't know if there's going to be a conflict, or something's going to block it, or like something's going to come up and then we get separated. And it's just like, it's one of the reasons why it's so hard for me to create a boundary with someone I like. Someone that does serve me. They may not serve me like exactly how I need to be served. And I know I don't serve people exactly how they need to be served either, but I do try, and I see their effort. And when I see their effort, it makes me go, okay, look, they're putting in the effort. And my team is like, no, shut it down. Right. And it's just like, it's cold in here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it on my head. I'm not like, it's cold in here. But anyway, so it's like, the team is just like, oh, nope, you gotta limit your input. You have to limit your input. That's what most boundaries are for. Limiting your input. You understand? They limit your input with certain people because it's a hindrance. I can tell you 100% with 100% accuracy and 100% agreement. Every single person that my higher self, my spirit guides, my spirit team, has told me to limit my exposure to them, they've been 100% correct. Yeah, 100%. Their track record is pretty good, like pretty damn good, and it's like every time when I hear that, or I feel that, you gotta shut this down. This is not working out the way it should, Kay. And it's just like, you sit there and I'm like, oh, I want friends. And they're like, this ain't it. Because we have a bigger mission and bigger places, and you've asked for things. You've asked for people, you've asked to go places, you asked to travel, you've asked to heal, you've asked to inspire, you've asked to coach, you've asked to teach, you've asked to create, you've asked for so many things that being with this person is not going to let that happen. And it's like, you start going, oh, ow, my heart, and it's just like, ouch, like, but you know that you have to create that boundary. You have to create that boundary, and you have to reinforce it, no matter how much you want to go back to where you came from. You can't go back to where you came from. Once you set that I know this is for a specific person, right? Once you set that boundary, you cannot back down from it. You can't, unless you were wrong. You understand? Now, if you honestly feel that you or your spirits or your team were incorrect or jumped the gun, because I've done that. I've done, because there's a difference between running and boundaries. That's probably going to be in the next video after I get finished with this video. There's a difference between running, which I've done, and setting a boundary. There's two different things. Those are two different things, and we'll talk about that later. And I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. The difference. Oh, yeah. So we're going to do that video next. So I'm telling you, these videos are going to get better, people. We're doing good. We're doing great. We're doing great. But yeah, there's a difference between running from someone and creating a boundary. So I'm not talking about running. I'm talking about, like, if you make a mistake and you're like, oh, damn, I shouldn't have, maybe I can like fix it. And you're fixing it because genuinely that person has changed. Because what you have to understand about boundaries too is not every boundary is infinite and like forever. Some boundaries might be like, okay, you got to get your shit together. And like, once you get your shit together and you get yourself leveled, then I do a 6 month rule with people I care about. People I care about. And it also depends on how much I care about you, because the grace period is 6 months for me. But the more I care about you, the shorter the time for me to check back to see if you learned whatever lessons that you need to learn so we can connect, but if I see that like you're going through stuff that I cannot help with, and I've tried to help with, and you're like, no, you can't help me with this, I'm like, okay, I gotta back off. If I say I'm here for you, I'm here for you. I'm that person. Like, there's nothing you can do besides hurt a child that will make me be like, oh, no. You understand? Unless you're just a jerk and you're not nice to me. But I digress. But yeah, so it's like, when that person when I pull back and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to give you the space that you need to do whatever it is that you need to do, or be whatever you need to be for yourself at that time, I pull back. The biggest part is usually 6 months. For me, where I consciously, like, if I haven't reached out to you in 6 months, I'm probably not going to reach back out to you, because it's just like, unless the spirit just has us cross paths again. Because there's nothing for me to do with you, and there's nothing for you to do with me. So it's just like, not saying that, because I've reached a person that I haven't spoken to in like friggin' years, said happy birthday to me the other day. And I was just like, oh, shoot, how are you? But I had no love lost with her. It wasn't like, why she hit me up. It wasn't like that. It was like, oh, shoot, what's up? And stuff like that. But there are people who, I know this video is a little all over the place. I'm so sorry. I hope everybody's like, if you're here thus far, thank you so much. I appreciate you. My videos are going to get better. But anyway, I hear my friend in my head, stop saying your videos aren't good. Your videos are fine. But anyway, a shout out to him and thank you. But yeah, so for me, it's more along the lines of, you need to figure out, did that person learn what they needed to learn? And then you check in, and if they didn't, you got to reinforce that boundary again. And it's like, what I don't keep doing is checking in every like couple of, it's like after a while, I'm like, okay, you're making choices that you really don't want to change from. And that's fine. One thing you have to understand, people are allowed to make their own choices. That's something that was hard for me to understand. People are allowed to make their own choices. They don't have to do what you want them to do. And being a kid who was like, in a stern Panamanian Christian family, you did what you were told. There was no, I don't want to. At least for me. For me, I didn't grow up like my sister. My sister, she was, and they'd be like, forget it. Keisha, go do this. And Keisha could not say no. I'm Keisha. I couldn't say no. I couldn't be like, oh, I don't want to. What? No, I didn't have that privilege. I didn't have the privilege because I didn't do good in school. I was always caught in doing something stupid, so it was just like, I didn't have the track record that my sister had, that she could be like, no, I don't want to. And then they were like, okay, fine. I don't want to argue with Carmen, because nobody wanted to argue with Carmen. We actually thought Carmen was going to be a lawyer because she loved to argue. So it's just like, I don't like arguing. I don't like arguing. I can if I have to. I don't like it because it wastes time and energy and it makes me tired. I don't like being aggressive. I don't. Contrary to popular belief, I don't like being aggressive, but I digress. So yeah, growing up that way, it made it like crazy when people told me no. But I had to learn that like people are allowed to make their own choices. You can't take their choice from them. You understand? I have to allow people to be who they are. But yeah, setting boundaries for people I don't like, very easy. Setting boundaries and listening to spirit for people who I do like and I want to build something with, it's hard. It's very hard for me. It's not as easy. It's not as easy as doing it for people I don't. But I'm learning that it's good for both me and that person, so that person can like have that space to see within themselves that maybe you need to grow, or they see within themselves, it's like, no, I like who I am. And like I said, I create boundaries with those people. I don't completely block them out of my life unless I'm told to. All right. I know this helped someone. I know it was a bit all over the place. Thank you for watching, especially if you got to this part. Rock star status. Thank you so much. Don't forget to leave a comment if it helped you. Let me know. If you'd like me to talk about something else, let me know that too in the comments. Thank you. Stay up, stay blessed. Deuces and a munch.